I used to have this girlfriend known as Elsie, with whom I shared for sordid rooms in Chelsea. She wasn't what you'd call a blushing flower. As a matter of fact, she rented by the hour. The day she died, the neighbors came to snicker. Well, that's what comes from too much pills and liquor. But when I saw her laid out like a queen, she was the happiest corpse I'd ever seen. We're talking about Cabaret today, 1972 Bob Fosse film starring Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey and Michael York. It's a very good film. It's one of the films I love most on the planet. I don't know. Do you want me to like to go in? What do you want me to say right now? Probably that the choreography is beautiful. That Bob Fosse reinvented the American musical, gave it a certain kind of nihilistic darkness that was sorely lacking. Joel Grey's performance is one of the best performances I've ever seen. Um, Liza Minnelli is absolutely flawless as Sally Bowles. Um, the songs are incredible. Money is one of my favorite musical numbers of all time, whereas the title track Cabaret that I just sung a little bit of is one of my favorite songs ever written. Uh, I think that people have talked about Cabaret a lot. I think that possibly people have talked about Cabaret enough, but it's not really what I'm gonna try to do here. So Cabaret has always been one of my favorite things on the planet. I love it to death. Um, it's been a long time since I watched it, but I watched it again today. And thank God for Liza Minnelli. Thank God for Joel Grey. Thank God for Bob Fosse. It was one of the best experiences I've had in a long time, especially with film, especially with media. This time watching Cabaret was quite different for me, and I think I'd like to share. I think I'd like to share that with you today. I really emotionally invested in Cabaret this time because Cabaret, obviously, it's set during the rise of the Nazi Party, with this kind of morbidly elegant juxtaposition between the decadence of the Cabaret Club and its singers and its players, its characters, and starting in the background, the Nazi Party is growing and growing until it's simply unavoidable, um, until it's deafening and sucks all of the life out of the room. It centers around the decadence of the cabaret club, the wild freedom, the anarchism of it, the romantic nihilism of it all. The cabaret club, a place where meaning is always the first casualty, purpose is always the first thing to die. Cabaret club where moral compasses don't work correctly. I love places like those. And I've always hung around in places like those, or you can view the cabaret club as man, this is hard because I connected with the film a lot. So like right now I'm pretty vulnerable. I'm like probably hypersensitive right now because I I just got my heart broken a little bit, but it's not necessarily like about like specifically. I'm not like not going to Bob Fosse and Liza Minnelli for therapy, but I mean they're still pretty good at it. It's more so I always fall in love with the same exact kind of girl, or like I always like date or fall for the same kind of girl, right? Which is perfectly. Um, it's Sally Bowles. It's always Sally Bowles. But and Sally Bowles is beautiful and talented and has like a really cool philosophy, if you can call it that, or a lack of one, because both is beautiful nonetheless. But Sally Bowles is like representative of everything that is valuable about the Cabaret Club, everything that is hopeful about it, true or untrue. I like to surround myself with like true believers. Um, I think I hang out at some like really nihilistic places, normally full of musicians and artists, people who don't conform, nonconformists, right? And there is a kind of beauty to those places, but those places always break my heart every single time. But still, I'd rather be on their side. I would always choose their side. In watching it this time, I was able to look at Sally Bowles and through Liza Minnelli's incredible, flawless performance within this film, and I was able to make peace with with every girl that had damaged my heart. I was able to make peace with every part of, the punk scene, the goth scene, the music scene, the art scene that broke my heart. I was able to root for these people, these um, symbols again. And by the time that Liza Minnelli finally sings the show's closing number, the incredible title track, the incredible Cabaret, it compelled me to get out of my fucking seat. And with like tears in my eyes, I was dancing along with all the heartache and all of the betrayal. Life is a cabaret. And I love a cabaret. Because it makes you like that there are self-destructive people, and I'm a self-destructive person, and I think I seek out people with self-destructive behavioral patterns. I love self-destructive environments. I love people who live on the edge of madness because that's the only place you can really be free, and it's been that way for years, for decades, for millennia probably. Living on the edge of madness is the only place you can truly be free. And Cabaret celebrates the jesters, the singers, the lovers who live on that fringe, on the edge of madness. Bob Fosse was an incredible choreographer. Bob Fosse was one of the greatest directors of musicals ever. Uh, Cabaret, I think, is his best film. I think Cabaret is better than The Godfather. I think Cabaret is one of the 10 best films ever made. Because I think Cabaret is saying a lot. And not just that hyper personal stuff I was sharing, but it also has a great deal to say about how fascism destroys art, how fascism destroys queer communities, how fascism destroys nonconformist communities, how fascism is an inevitability of the fucked up like moral landscape that people strive to occupy. Those who are inordinary are the first to be targeted. And when I think of Cabaret, I think of the musical performances first because Bob Fosse is able to express and translate so much power and pathos and meaning. And in this nihilistic cinematic worldview, there is so much meaning in each of his musical numbers. Liza Minnelli's performance is one that is overflowing with passion, pathos, and determination. She is so driven in this film, and Sally Bowles, yeah, is a carbon copy of every girl I've ever fallen for in my entire life, starting with like my very first girlfriend. Like they've all been Sally Bowles. And watching Cabaret, I'm able to make peace with every single Sally Bowles there ever fucking was. All of them. And when she sings in those musical numbers like Mine Air, maybe this time, Fantastic Money with Joel Grey or Cabaret itself, I'm able to see something worth championing, something worth rooting for. And I'm able to see what it was I fell in love with in the first place. It's that helpless hopefulness. It's that decadent elegance. It's contrast. The contrast of the real fucking world. The conflict between the true believers and the fascists. It's the conflict I always see. It's the freedom. It's the beauty. It's the refusal Sally is every girl that refused to be ordinary. And I think I love every girl that refuses the same thing. Joel Grey gives one of the best performances I've ever seen in cinema as the MC, which is curiously a role that wasn't exactly translated into cinema, right? I mean, he's up there doing a Broadway performance. We just get more close-ups. It really gives way to the power of the theater, the power of that performance. Joel Grey was perfect as the MC. He's impossible to gauge emotionally, politically. You have no idea where he's coming from, but you know it has to be the most perverted and manic place possible. When he sings, "But if you could see her through my eyes, she wouldn't look Jewish at all." And it goes fucking manic. It's anarchic. He's one of the feistiest, most mischievous, and yet one of the most like transcendental characters in cinema because I trust him or I trust that I can't trust him, and that's almost just as good for that's good. That's just as good. Michael York is fantastic. I kind of found myself relating to Michael York's character a bit this time around, which is weird. I'm not the most innocent person in the world, but I think that compared to these girls that I keep finding to Sally, yeah, I'm a passenger. She's a superstar in her own private movie, and all I wanted was a minor part. It's the best I've ever seen Michael York, for sure. This film flows so beautifully. And yeah, as I said, I think that Money is the best musical number I've ever seen. It's not the most emotional. That would be like Cabaret in this one. Cabaret moves me so to tears, and I root for every fucking misfit that I've ever fallen in love with, or every misfit that ever had his heart broken, his or her their heart broken, and continues to go out and listen to the music and continues to participate in the cabaret. But Money is my favorite musical number. There's something about Joel Grey and Liza Minnelli playing perfectly off of each other, echoing each other's movements, whispering manically into each other's ears, giving each other these demented glares, singing a song that is deliberately callous in the most nihilistic way possible. That goes way beyond being sexy because it isn't. It's vulgar, it's obscene, and it's immaculate. The Money song, "Money, money makes the world go round. A mark, a yen, a buck, or a pound is all that makes the world go round." A clinking, clanking sound. That's the best. And that's when musical cinema peaked. Like outside of the musicals of Jacques Demy, the musicals of Bob Fosse are the best. Cabaret and Umbrellas of Cherbourg are the best musicals ever made. Cabaret just hit me so intensely this time. And I liked it so much for that. I liked being able to make peace, to reacquaint myself with all of these different girls in my past and present, through Sally, through Liza Minnelli in 1972, through her musical performances, through her acting, through her skill, through her grace, through her chaos, through her hopefulness. I was able to get myself back up, put myself back together, and not fill myself with like hate and anger or regret. But I'm gonna continue to root for them because I think there's something tragic about every Sally out there. There's something tragic about every Sally Bowles, and there are so many of them. There's a tragedy within them. But maybe this time, maybe this time, Sally might just win. Or at least I hope. At least I hope one of them eventually does. I think Cabaret is a beautiful film. I think it's one of the most perfect films ever made. I think it's priceless. I think it's beautifully composed and choreographed, written and captured. I love Bob Fosse. I love Liza Minnelli. I love Joel Grey. Thank you all so much. Cabaret is perfect. And I feel so bad for like my group of misfit kind of bohemian friends who will inevitably fall to a sort of fascist threat, because that's always been the enemy of not only art, but nonconformist tenderness. I feel bad for the ones who'll get caught up in it. But maybe this time she'll win though. Maybe she'll get out. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video though. Thank you for going on this emotional roller coaster with me. I love this film a lot. Hopefully someone out there liked this video. I just wanted to capture this moment. Like, I was swept away by a film that I've seen a countless amount of times, but I watched it tonight and it hit me in a way that it never had before. I'd never been so involved. I never put myself directly into the drama, into the music before. I wanted to capture the moment because it's one of the most profound viewing experiences of my life, and I had it just now before I pressed record. Sally Bowles. She's made me see so much more. Life is a cabaret, and I love a cabaret.